Hello everybody, welcome to another video by our channel AVTE. Today we are going to be talking about literature, and often because of other subjects we forget about English completely क्योंकि हमें लगता है वो एक light chapter, एक light subject है, उसमें chapters इतने heavy nahi hote and we just ignore it. So today we are going to be focusing on English literature. So today we are going to be picking up one of the literature chapters called Lost Spring. So by now we hope कि आप अपने literature की thorough practice कर चुके होंगे. You are aware of the chapters. Particularly in today's video we are going to be talking about the topic Lost Spring. If you remember the title is Lost Spring. So understand the topic. And this title in itself says a lot about the chapter, but the title in itself, अगर आपने पढ़ा होगा, has irony to it. Irony means contradiction. So remember what the significance of the title is. That is going to be very important for this particular chapter. If you can focus on the word spring. Spring means something very colorful, something very like that makes you happy, a weather that is going to make you happy. It is colorful, and lost means wo gum gaya. So this whole little topic will say a lot about the chapter. And remember, जब आप ऐसे particular topics कर रहे होते हैं in literature, remember the theme behind it. If it's irony, you need to know why it is irony. So you need to know your chapters really well. Continuing with the title, Stories of Stolen Childhood. Spring marks a new season. Similarly, when a human life is born, a kid is born, it's a new life. So spring represents the new life of a kid being born on this earth. So this is the significance of the title. When you proceed in the chapters, you come across rack picking, you come across bangle making, how it is injurious to health, and how the exploitation of children is happening when they're working in such jobs, when like picking stuff from dustbins, or when they're working in the bangle factories where there is no light. It is exploiting their childhood. And this is again what you're going to read in depth. Again, I'm going to say we are not going to talk about the topic in depth, but we're going to highlight points that you should know in the chapter. We come across characters like Sahib and Mukesh. Just remember, हमेशा जो main characters होंगे, you need to know their names really well. You need to know the name of the chapter. If you get RTC, you need to know the name of the writer. It is going to be helpful. So when we come across Saib and Mukesh, we come to know that they are the people who are the bread earners, and they are the kids who are supporting their family for earning their bread. These kids have a very limited life. They are not allowed to dream. They can't dream. Again, a lot about the title. Why I'm focusing on this point is because you might get a question as explain the title. Then you will have to go through the entire chapter, but make it short and make it like cut to cut, point to point about where you see that the childhood of the kids have been lost. You will get questions from between, but if you know the topic, it's fine. We are going to focus on the important points of the topic. So what exactly does the title bring out? It brings out the subject child labor. I'm going to give you a short. We see how the kids are exploited, how they're working hard, what conditions they live in, what little they have throughout the chapter. You need to pick those examples and put it in and fit it in the question. Now, you might get a question about Sahib or his family. So you need to remember where he came from. It is very clear in the topic that he came from Dhaka to Delhi. He lives with other rack pickers to earn. They often find money in rack picking, and you need to focus on the main part that you'll have to focus on is how his living conditions are. When in the chapter you've been highlighted, they don't have ration cards, they don't have food, they are deprived of hunger. So whenever they occasionally find 10 rupees or something in their rack picking, you need to highlight these points. You might get a question like, explain the contradiction in the name Sahib to his life. Similar questions. So the irony is there in his name. Throughout this chapter, there's a lot of ironies that you come across in the name Sahib as well. Sahib means someone big, someone with a high position if you know Hindi, or If you are aware of the term Sahib, it means someone in high position. When you look up to someone who's the Lord of the universe, you say Sahib. So that order is like so high, he's so supreme. But here Sahib, what he's doing is rack picking, which is the lowest, one of the lowest levels of living, which is so contradictory to his name. So you might get questions like these as well, and you need to be careful when you're answering such questions. So in the chapter you come through information about how Saib is earning. He has a tea stall, they tell you an amount he earns and all of that. So you have to mention all of that. But the point is, again, make sure that when you are asked a question, you are picking up the points that fit in that question, because in this chapter the questions can have a very similar tone, but you need to pick exactly those examples that fit right in here. In the chapter, then we come across a character named Mukesh. He wants to be a motor mechanic, but he's spending all his life glass blowing in a bangle factory. So you have to tell, if you're asked about Mukesh, these are going to be important points about him: where he stays, what he does, what he dreams to be, and what he cannot be. Because when you're poor, you cannot dream, you are not allowed to dream, which is very clearly highlighted in this chapter. That is why I am mentioning it. If you are asked about conditions of Mukesh, you're going to have to explain his surroundings. It's stinky, it's a very piled colonies where garbage is filled. That when you read the chapter, you clearly know what to pick and what not to pick. The explanation of where he lives and how his living conditions are very clearly mentioned in your book. Over and over, this was what was in the chapter. I'm going to now give you some points that might be helpful for you to remember the topic, because abhi ek karoge, it's easier. Of course, when you're going to go through and you're going to do 4-5 chapters more, you might get confused. By now, we are assuming you know the chapters really well. Your pre-boards might have happened by now, or you are giving some kind of exams. So you are aware of the chapter. I'm going to give you some points related to the chapter, which are going to, in short, highlight the theme of the entire chapter. So first point, remember the condition of the children. When we talk about two characters, Sahib and Mukesh, just remember what they work, how hideous their conditions are, how congested areas or stinky areas they stay in, and how they are deprived of dreaming and basic facilities like a ration card. Then you need to also be aware of the fact that the children cannot afford to go to school, so they do not go to school. Instead, they go out earning for their family, which at this point in their lives they should be going to school, learning, and hoping for a better life ahead of them. Instead, they go to glass blowing factories, or they rack pick or work at a tea stall to earn for their family. Since I forgot to mention this before, just remember about the vision of Mukesh's father, that he is blind and how he got blind. They have told you in depth about the conditions at the bangle factory, how it harms your eyes over time, and that's how Mukesh's father got blind. They have told you about the conditions because there is no light, you're working in the dark. So just remember that particular paragraph in depth, because a question can come out of it. This is all what is in the chapter, but I'm also going to point out that remember when we spoke about Mukesh's dream, remember that he right now is a kid and he dreams to having a better life, whereas his father and grandfather could never do it because they realized that they cannot get out of this dingy cells that they work in. So make sure that you're explaining things and picking parts which clearly fit in. I hope you get something out of these points that we got for you. And I hope these points made the chapter a little bit more clearer for you, or the things you might need to remember in the topic. And we are going to bring out more important points for other literature chapters throughout the weeks for you. So don't forget to hit the notification bell to see when the video comes out. Also subscribe to this channel, share it with your friends, and give this video a big thumbs up. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in our next video.